Welcome to another episode of the Expert Digital AI podcast, where we deep dive into artificial intelligence, generative AI, and digital transformation.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into something seriously fascinating. Today, we're tackling AI. And not just, AI in the news today, but the whole shebang, where it all started, how we got to where we are now, and what might be coming next. Our guide for this deep dive is Rick Spares, From Turing to Tesla, a timeline of AI evolution. It's a pretty awesome roadmap of, the biggest aha moments in AI history. So buckle up, because we're about to explore how we went from basic calculators to, machines that can practically think for themselves. And where better to start than with the OG AI pioneer himself, Alan Turing. This guy was a genius, a mathematician, a code breaker, you name it. But back in the 1950s, he was already dreaming about, get this, making machines think. Yeah, you heard that right, thinking machines. And they weren't messing around when they dubbed him the father of AI. Turing had this wild idea. What if we could create a machine so smart that it could actually fool a person into believing it was human? That's the whole idea behind the famous Turing Test, and let me tell you, it's still causing a stir even today. Picture this. You're chatting online, maybe in one of those early internet chat rooms, and you can't tell if you're talking to a real person or a super advanced chatbot. Should be right. That was Turing's vision.
And the mind-blowing part, he was cooking up these ideas way back in the 1950s. I mean, come on, computers back then were like dinosaurs. They were huge, took up entire rooms, and you had to feed them punch cards just to get them to do anything. Turing was thinking light years ahead. And get this, the Turing test isn't just some dusty old relic from the past. It still makes us wrestle with this huge question. What does it even mean to be intelligent, whether you're a human or a machine?
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
You got it. And Turing's impact goes way beyond just, building smart machines. His work totally flipped the script on how we think about computation itself. His ideas laid the groundwork for, pretty much everything we do with computers today.
It's like he gave us the blueprint, and we've been building on it ever since. So Turing set the stage, and then things really started heating up in the world of AI. Those early years of AI research, what was it like?
Picture this. Scientists and engineers cooped up in labs, surrounded by these gigantic computers, trying to, breathe life into circuits and wires. It was a wild time.
It kind of reminds me of those early attempts at flight. Tons of trial and error, some bumps and bruises along the way, but also those moments of pure magic when something actually worked.
Spot on. We're talking computers, playing checkers, figuring out math problems, stuff we might take for granted now, but back then, those were game changers.
They might seem small now, but those early wins were proof that AI wasn't just some sci-fi fantasy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They showed the world that machines could, in fact, be intelligent. And that's when things started to get really interesting with machine learning, this radical idea that machines could learn from data instead of just following a script.
So instead of programming the machine with every single step, we're basically saying, here's a bunch of data, go figure it out.
Exactly. And one of the most revolutionary things to come out of this era was the rise of neural networks, even though they were, way ahead of their time.
Neural networks now, those sound complicated.
Oh, they were! Imagine trying to build a brain but out of code. That's kind of what those early AI pioneers were up to. They were inspired by the human brain with all its billions of interconnected neurons. These early neural networks were like the Model T compared to what we have today, but they were the first steps on the long road to real machine intelligence.
So they were essentially trying to copy the human brain using computers. That's a pretty ambitious goal. Did it work?
It did work in a way, but it took a while to really take off.
It's like those movies where the hero has a slow training montage, right? They're putting in the work, but we don't see the big payoff until later.
Exactly. And in AI's training montage, the 1980s and 90s were when things really started to heat up.
So what changed? What got those AI muscles flexing?
Machine learning, my friend. That's when machine learning stepped onto the scene and stole the show.
Okay. Break it down for me, machine learning. What's the big deal?
Instead of hand-coding every single rule for every situation a machine might encounter, which is crazy time-consuming. By the way, what if it could just figure those rules out on its own?
You're saying, let the machine do the heavy lifting. I like the sound of that.
Right. That's the beauty of machine learning. It's like, here's a mountain of data, go learn from it.
So instead of giving the machine a textbook, we're giving it real-world experience.
Exactly. And that's when we started to see AI tackle some seriously complex problems. This article talks about some of the early wins, like using machine learning to predict stock market trends. Talk about high stakes.
No kidding. And I remember reading about how they were using machine learning in medicine too, like helping doctors diagnose diseases earlier and stuff.
It's amazing how those early applications paved the way for what we're seeing today.
It's like those little seeds they planted back then have grown into a whole AI jungle now.
And remember those neural networks we were talking about?
Yeah.
Well, they weren't just a one-hit wonder. They made a massive comeback during this time.
They did, didn't they? What brought them back into the game?
Researchers made some major breakthroughs, especially with a technique called backpropagation.
Backpropagation. Okay, that sounds a little intimidating even for AI.
It's a bit technical, but basically it's like giving those neural networks a serious upgrade. It helps them learn much faster and more accurately.
So it's like taking those neural networks from AI toddlers to AI athletes.
Precisely. And then the 2000s rolled around and bam, the era of big data was upon us.
It's like everyone and their grandma got online and the amount of data we were generating went through the roof.
And for AI, this wasn't a problem. It was like winning the lottery.
So instead of drowning in all that data, AI was able to swim.
More like surf. All that data was the perfect fuel for those supercharged neural networks to really take off. We're talking deep learning here.
Deep learning. Okay, so we're going even deeper down the AI rabbit hole now.
We are. And this is where things get really mind-blowing.
Give me an example. What kind of mind-blowing stuff are we talking about?
Remember that time when a computer beat a world champion Go player?
Oh, yeah. That was huge news. Everyone was talking about it.
That was AlphaGo, a deep learning program built by Google's DeepMind. Go is this ancient game, insanely complex, with more possible moves than, like, atoms in the universe or something crazy like that.
Seriously?
It sounds made up, right? But it's true. For the longest time, people thought Go was way too complicated for a computer to master.
But AlphaGo proved them wrong.
Big time. It was a watershed moment for AI, demonstrating that deep learning could tackle some of the most challenging problems out there.
It's like AI went from 0 to 60 in the blink of an eye. And it's not slowing down anytime soon, is it?
Not even close. AI is out in the real world now, doing some pretty incredible stuff. And one of the most mind-blowing examples has got to be Tesla's autopilot.
Talk about AI with horsepower. It's wild to think those cars can practically drive themselves. Well, at least sometimes.
Autopilot is a great example of what AI can do, but also the challenges that come with it. You've got sensors, cameras, algorithms. It's a whole symphony of tech working together to help that car understand and navigate the world around it.
So it's constantly learning and adapting as it goes. No wonder Elon Musk is so excited about it.
Exactly. But it also raises a lot of questions, right? Like, what happens if there's an accident? Who's responsible, the driver or the AI? And what happens to all those driving jobs as this technology gets even better?
It's like we're living in a sci-fi movie, but it's actually happening. And speaking of the future, this article also touches on robotics, which is a whole other can of AI worms.
Right. Imagine a world where robots are working side by side with humans, doing everything from surgery to, like, cleaning up toxic waste.
It's both exciting and a little bit unnerving at the same time, wouldn't you say?
It definitely makes you think. It's not just about making things faster and more efficient. It's about fundamentally changing how we work and live. What does it mean to be human in a world where machines can do so much?
Big questions, and honestly, I don't think there are any easy answers. But one thing's for sure, AI is changing the game, and it's up to us to figure out how we want to play. What started with Alan Turing's big dream back in the 50s has exploded into something beyond what anyone could have imagined.
And we're just getting started.
Exactly. The story of AI is still being written, and who knows what the next chapter holds. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something I want you to think about. How do you see AI impacting your life, your job, your future? What excites you about it, and what makes you a little bit nervous? It's something to ponder, right? And on that note, we'll call it a wrap. Thanks for joining us for this whirlwind tour of AI, from its humble beginnings to its mind-blowing potential. Keep those brains buzzing, and we'll catch you next time.